newsroom. This is Prairie and Water, our new series on environmental stories focused on Illinois. I'm Lesha Bushak. Scientists say climate change is already here, and it's causing more frequent storms and flooding. Natural disasters can result in lost homes and livelihoods, and it can cause long-term mental health issues. I traveled to Grafton, where the Illinois and Mississippi rivers come together, to see how the town is still dealing with the physical and mental health effects of a devastating flood in 2019. On a sunny autumn day, the southwestern Illinois town of Grafton is dry. Waves calmly lap the edge of town of about 650 people, a far cry from the spring of 2019. Snow, rain, and remnants of a tropical storm caused the Mississippi to overrun its banks. The town was essentially underwater for months, as seen in this video from KTVI TV. 8-foot-high floodwaters rose to the roofs of homes and businesses downtown, forcing residents and business owners to evacuate. Grafton Mayor Rick Eberlin remembers it well.
It was very traumatic. It was very unnerving, I guess you could say. This flood lasted for 125 days, so it's the longest flood that this region has ever experienced.
The damage wasn't limited to homes and roads. It also took a toll on mental health.
See the looks on people's faces every time, rain was in the forecast, or every time, you're out working and you'd hear thunder. And I can remember seeing a business owner, pretty tough guy, never saw a whole lot of emotion out of that individual, just break down.
Stores and restaurants around Grafton mark the high water levels with signs. Dan Bechdel's furniture store saw 7 feet of water when the floods hit last year.
Oh, the loss of everything. I mean, we lived next door, so we couldn't stay there. Luckily, we got family that we could stay with.
He says the stress of having to face another flood weighs heavily on him.
Just the anguish of coming back in, cleaning up, starting over. And this is probably our third time. No, it is very much of a mental strain because you're worried about your livelihood being gone. So, and at this age, I don't want to start over. I'm too old to start over.
Research shows that natural disasters are linked to mental illness like post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD, anxiety, and depression. Dr. Ted Bender is a psychologist and president of Unity Point Health in Peoria.
The more and more of these types of events that happen, the more and more people are going to be exposed to pain and threat. And the more and more people that get exposed to pain and threat, the more people will develop mental health disorders that need to be treated.
But support for those mental health issues is often lacking in the aftermath of disasters. A recent survey out of the Center for Public Integrity at Columbia University found that among U.S. regions hit hard by wildfires, hurricanes, or floods, 70% of survivors reported not receiving mental health services in the aftermath of the disaster. Grafton received a FEMA disaster declaration in the fall of 2019, but it did not receive any aid for mental health services. Oliver Reedy has lived in Grafton his entire life. At 81 years old, he's seen plenty of floods.
I've been in them since I was a kid. Well, they never was this bad. Those are the kind of floods that hurt people.
Reedy says he's seen those floods hitting Grafton get worse over time, and he says he believes it's the result of climate change.
There's got to be some changes coming. Some people may not think so, but there is. And if they don't watch what they're doing in the next 30 years, I'm afraid there won't be much of it left.
Colin Wellenkamp, executive director with Mississippi River Cities and Towns, says those disasters are indeed increasing over time.
It used to be that these events were spaced out 25 to 30 years. You'd have a major event every couple of decades. Now we have a major event that breaks records the next year.
He says massive natural disasters along the Mississippi River have accumulated in recent years, placing a greater strain on mental health.
Emphasizing intervention and prevention for the impacts of mental illness and emotional support are absolutely necessary, and we definitely need to ramp that up.
Slowly, with the help of funds from FEMA, Grafton is rebuilding. While they're waiting on more mental health care in the region, the residents in the meantime have to rely on their own resilience. You can read more about this story at illinoisnewsroom.org. This is Prairie and Water. I'm Lesha Bushak. We'll see you next time.